All right, welcome back to part two of week two. Two main things we're going to do. We're going to continue with how we learn, um, looking at especially current methods, communicative language teaching, and where we've come from, of course, and technology, looking at some of the various forms of tech that have and are still being used. Okay, so if we get rid of that, here's over to a quick prezi. Now, a lot of these are not prepared for you specifically as undergraduate students of this school. These are ones where I'm picking the highlights that are important for you from my graduate school classes. So this is one from a teacher training program, the Masters in Education actually. So I'm not going to go into the deep history of education here, or in this case of EFL. EFL stands for English as a Foreign Language, as opposed to ESL, which is English as a Second Language. So if you were if you were living in America and learning English, you're surrounded by English speakers. That's an ESL environment. Here, the only English you get is online and some videos and so forth, and from me. So this is an EFL environment. So if I'm going to skip. Of course, there are several different methods where we've been learning, and the current one since the '90s is communicative language teaching (CLT). It focuses on communicative success through speaking, rather than grammar translation, where it all started was a bit more writing and rote memorization. So if I skip along to the important stuff. So principles. Focus on accuracy is not good. So again, I don't focus on how perfect your English is. I focus on communication success. Are you able to communicate your ideas? And that's true for you as teachers too. Making meaningful. How does it apply to the students' lives? So if you're doing sports, you connect it to what sports they play, what sports they watch, what sports are relevant in Korea. Rewards, well, there's the old throw them as chocolate. I hate sugar and don't encourage sugar, but this is where the flipped learning method of badges and prizes, and even just a board where you have a ranking of what did the best in different aspects of the class that day. Intrinsic motivation as opposed to extrinsic motivation. This is where you build their own motivation rather than saying, okay, you're going to need this English for your job or you're not going to get a job. That would be extrinsic, the whip. You're giving them the carrot. How can you motivate them to do well? One thing I do and you should do is games. Yeah, you get back what you put in. So if you don't try very hard, they won't try very hard. Lower affective filters, which really means keep them from being demotivated. Don't make it too difficult. Like I'm trying to flip through and focus on some here. I'm not feeding you everything. Build self-confidence, a key aspect of both this course and of, hold on, let me switch off my, yes, we were talking about self-confidence, a key aspect of this course. I want you to feel confident with the English you already have. As long as you have the English of a grade 6 elementary school student, you have enough English to teach from grades 3 to 6. You don't need a lot of difficult language. You need repetition of simple language. And that's the same for you as a teacher as well as it is as a student. Gambling is good, meaning that you want to encourage students to take chances. You want them to speak. And this is where games are good because if they have to answer or do something quickly, that's great for building automaticity, automatic response, ability to access English quickly. Yeah, I don't teach American English. Any English you use is probably in a Korean context to other Koreans, so it should be relevant to you. And it says there, beware of L1 transfer, which means mistakes that come from Korean translation problem. So when you use Google Translate with an expression like "it's raining cats and dogs," you're going to get something really strange. In fact, let me have a look at that. Okay, so my Korean's not good enough to know if that's isange or not, but obviously there are ways to express in Korean which do not translate well, so be aware of those. Right, and it says there, last one, consolidate. Use the language that students have learned in games and activities, which is what you'll be doing in the micro lesson. The micro lessons, you're not actually teaching language. You're imagining that you've already taught some vocabulary or grammar structures, and you provide the opportunity to use it in a game. So I've also offered some quick hit treatments here, things that you can do. Lower inhibitions, make students comfortable. Don't correct every mistake when they're wrong. Encourage risk taking, as we said. Build their confidence. Help them be motivated in their own area of learning. Promote cooperative learning, pair work, group work, Vygotsky, scaffolding, ZPD. Encourage right brain processing. Briefly, as I'm sure you've heard before, the right brain is focused on your creativity. It's looking at understanding the processes of how things are done. Left brain is more your logical, systematic, structured knowledge, DGE. So people that are more straightforward are probably left-brained, whereas right brain, you would come up with more creative thinking. Now, that's not the same as lefties. We call people who are left-handed, because people who are left-handed are, of course, right-brained. So that's just this. And of course, you can also look at, let me see, another thing that we've mentioned, and you've probably done with me as freshmen, EQ, IQ, SQ. The old measure of intelligence was a simple number. So if you got 130, 160, you're intelligent. If you're 100, you're an average person, or below average even. Whereas now we think of intelligence as being different areas of intelligence. So you need social skills. And if you don't have them, you're socially restricted, even though you have emotional and intelligence quotient is high. So these are the rounded things for the whole person. So we consider this, well, actually, sorry, not spiritual. That sometimes comes up SQ as spiritual. I think of it as social. So that's confusing. Let's stick with that diagram. So you're working on different areas of intelligence. And of course, these two is why we do group work and working with each other. Difficult right now. Another one that's worth mentioning at this stage is, of course, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences theory. It comes up with the types of intelligence being of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, starting with this one about nature, about music, about math, about how and why we live, your spirit, being able to think about thinking, basically. Interpersonal, your social ability. Intrapersonal, your inner ability about understanding your feelings. Bodily kinesthetic, movement. Are you good at sports or not? And linguistic, language. Are you good at picking up languages quickly? Something that women are unfairly better at than men. And of course, spatial. Your ability, well, even parking a car. is included here. Your ability to see peripherally, got a bit of a tongue twister, and looking at the world in different ways. And going back to the Prezi, helping students use their intuition. That's that gut feeling. If you think something is right, encourage them to take a risk to speak and say it. Give them some pointers to help them get to that expression. And right, the last one, get students to set their own goals. Having students understand why they're learning English is an important part of learning. It's easier for adults. You know why you're here, so even though you're not motivated to speak English, maybe you think your major's not English, I don't want to teach English, but it's part of your teaching future. You may be required to teach English. And either way, you're going to be required in a globalized sense to use English materials online, through video, maybe communicating with partner teachers, etc. So that creating goals is more difficult for children because, of course, they don't know why they're in classrooms other than their mom told them. So this is smaller, shorter goals. And again, for this class, games and activities. Just get them to want to win that game or to finish the activity. And a quick list of the characteristics of a good learner, things to be aware of for yourself and for you as a teacher. Confidence, motivation, knowing why they're learning, unafraid to make mistakes, takes risks, guesses, is positive about English, about the cultural aspects. A good pattern receiver can see how that, say, its verb is repeated in different forms and in the same pattern. And lastly, the self-directed learner, and this is more for you as a student at DNUE and my class. Autonomous, able to work by yourself, particularly important now. And now a lot of this self part is in Google Classroom. Please monitor your own grades. You can see your own grades on the Google Classroom page. If you've got a 0, that means you didn't submit something. That's up to you. I cannot, check all and respond to everyone. So please make sure you've submitted things. And if there's a problem, contact me. Okay, that's all I want to say about that. Right, the last thing I want to cover is a quick thing about technology, the different tools that are available. Now, this is a page that I created quite some time ago. And you'll see, if I can make it a bit bigger, the number of different things that have been used and are still used by educators. Things like electronic dictionaries, of course, it's in your phone. Many of these are in smartphones. Interactive whiteboards, IWBs, or touchscreen TV, as you'll see in the upper floors of the Sangrock building. Podcasts, few of you use, but can be used for adult learning. Virtual learning environments, where there is no school, it's virtual, it's online only. Video conferencing and audio conferencing is a fancy way of saying chat, either with video or not. Concordancers, I'm not going to bother going into this, but if you click on this, you'll see different ways that an expression is used in English. There's lots of different things that are useful for you as teachers. Now, if we go back to the DNUE's Weebly site, most of these are hyperlinks. My original class, what you would be doing in week 2 is you come in, I show you this on the screen. It is a 1-page PDF which replaces the old 80 to 100, actually it was 120 pages at one point, classroom English book, which students didn't look at. So this was a nice condensed way of presenting information. So what you did, you would come to class, you'd use your phone to scan this, or if your phone was broken, you'd go to this website. And you would access what I called well, first you'd see the goals of the class. So you'd understand what technology is, what it means to you as a teacher, and you'd look at your quest. In this case, I'd ask you with a partner to work out what one of these is, and you'd search on your phone and be able to tell the class. We can't do that because it's just me and my camera and you and your screen, so I'll cover these quickly. Call, tell, mall. They're all about language learning through computers, through technology enhanced, and through mobile devices, which is what we're doing now. BYOD, BYOT, bring your own device, which could be a laptop or a smartphone, technology. And again, that could even include things like camcorders and voice recorders. LMS, you're familiar with, Learning Management System. Personally, I'm finding the Canvas an improvement over the last one. I know many of you don't like the changes, but we'll get used to it. It's a little more similar to Google Classroom. So hopefully it's after a couple of weeks, we'll have easy understanding. Content management system. We used to do reading outside of class. I will not ask you to do that. And I used Moodle, which is an example of a CMS, to do that. So what would happen is I would show you this page. You'd have your name in here. You would read some books. So if I go to some of my old ones, you know, this student has read all of these books. And what happens is you read the book, you take the quiz that's on this site. And so if we do Cinderella, class favorite, you would choose the book that you've read, click on it, and you start taking the quiz. And if you had read the book and read it and understood it, you would pass 70%. This is what a Moodle is. It's studying outside of classroom, in this case, to improve your fluency and confidence with English. Socrative is something that hopefully you will install on your phone if you haven't already. We'll use it for some quizzes. And Kahoot is a game version that many of you as freshmen have used already. Seesaw is a site that I used to use as well. It's a digital portfolio. So to go back, hi music again. What happens is you would get your own page and you would upload various things, assignments, questions, that I had asked you to answer. We're not using that this semester. It's very useful for keeping track of students' work. We said it's not so great for elementary school, but it is there. Where are we? So MOOCs, massive open online courses, have become exceedingly popular now. It's a way to study at home or wherever you are outside of university. They can be accredited. You get a certificate and it shows on your resume that you've completed the course and passed, or they can just be as an observer or you audit the course. And you'll see, for example, Coursera. I've got a couple here. Learn to speak Korean, overdue. ADHD, overdue. I'm not showing great success with these. I'm motivated often, but we've got so much screen time now that I understand your plight with staring at the screen. So I've missed a lot of important deadlines. But there are other ones which I have completed. In Future Learn, which was about childhood in the digital age, and it helped me decide whether I should encourage digital interface or not. And here we are. We have no choice. And last but not least, CMC, computer mediated communication. So we can use video like we are now, screen capture software. It's also FaceTime and Skype and Google Meet and AC without the video. So that's just Kakao Talk, etc. and text messaging. Okay, you don't need to do this assessment, by the way. The assessment today will be a quiz that I'm going to upload. So it's designed to check what you've understood from this video, the 2 videos from today. So please ignore that. That is not homework. Last thing, I prepared this before, so just a reminder of how far we have come. So this is a stroll along my timeline. And if we present, let me see. So here is young Andy in 1982 with his BBC Model B microcomputer. Others had game computers, the ZX Spectrum, but from Clive Sinclair. I was given this because my mum was a teacher and she wanted something educational. So it wasn't great for games, but it was meant to be good for everything else. But I did games on it. So that was that. 1993, MS Word. Not been around that long. In fact, I did not even need to use MS Word during university. 999 Napster, when I got to download lots of music for free. Is it stealing? Well, everyone steals now. 2000, teaching ideas and materials from the web. The web is a great resource for not stealing, but I don't use my library of books so much because books get out of date really quick. The web is constantly updated, just as my websites are. Great resource for materials. 2009, when I started at DNUE, so I researched all about classroom English in building the course. That was Mark 1 of the class. 2009, I also discovered podcasts that I used to be crazy about. It's audiobooks that I'm crazy about nowadays. MOOCs, so in 2015, when I was doing the graduate school courses, I took extra courses to help me stay up to date, really, stay current, because I am not getting any younger. 2016, audiobooks. I probably listen, 12 hours a week of books from my favorite website, Scribd. 2018, well, you saw the PDF that I have been giving in class. So students use the QR code reader to scan it and see it on their phone instead of can't see the screen. Web quests, where students are working with a partner instead of just listening to me. In this unfortunate digital delivery, we're back to the old method. I hate this lag on the camera, sorry. And 2020, yeah, well, here we are with a different form of education. We're making the best of it, and who knows what's next. Is it Elon Musk's Neuralink? I heard he's tried it out in, pigs? Anyways, we're getting there. Communication straight from brain to brain. So that, folks, is the short, sharp version of how we learn technology. Please keep an eye on your classroom things. So, for example, there are a few people who did not take the quiz. I'm sorry, you don't get 2 points for that. Slowly, I'll go through and you'll get your scores back for the self-intro videos. I don't do videos often because it's a lot of time to go back through, but I really wanted to see you all. Make sure your name is there, make sure your grades are up to date, make sure you follow the classwork. So for next week, I will post later today or tomorrow, an assessment. It'll be on Google, some quiz questions, and it's just for me to see who understands and who doesn't what's coming out of my mouth. Okay, hope you're all doing well, and we'll see you soon.